Welcome to Collecting Chaos. My name is James, and today I just want to talk a little bit about what I have seen recently with collectors. And I see this online, I see it in person, and it bothers me. And that is, what's the grade? They care about the grade. They don't care about the condition of the comic, they only care about the grade. Now that sounds kind of funny, I know. But bear with me and we'll get into it a little bit deeper right after this. So what am I talking about? Well, with that grading has gone too far and everybody looks for that 9.8. You got to have a 9.8. If you don't have a 9.8, it's not worth buying. Yeah, what a load of crap. Who cares if there's a couple little marks on the inside of a comic book or on a cover of a comic if it's on every single comic that was published? Yeah, it can't be a 10 because you're not allowed to have any defects on a 10. But it could be a 9.9, it could be a 9.8. And especially with companies like CGC, where if it's a known defect that's on a large portion of the print run, they don't count it at all. They don't even consider it. So it's not important. What is important is how a comic book presents, how it looks. And it can be a low-grade copy, but if it presents really well, there you go. You don't have much to worry about now, do you? So I've got a few comics, and we're going to take a look at them, and I will evaluate them. I'm not going to assign a grade. I don't do grades anymore, even on the comic books I sell. I had somebody walk up to me, and they were looking at them and said, "What grade would you say this is?" And I said, "I'm not putting a grade on it." I said, "If you can't tell by looking at it whether it's nice enough to go in your collection, maybe you're in the wrong hobby." They bought the book, by the way. I guess I made them feel bad. But that's true. If you don't need to be able to grade a comic book, but you do need to be able to evaluate the condition. And there's a difference. Once you can evaluate a condition, you can figure out the grade. That's not a big deal. But just looking at a comic and saying, okay, this is a, no, you can't do that. You have to be able to evaluate. And that's where people mess up. They don't know how to evaluate their comics. So I've got 3 comics here and I'm going to show them to you and we'll get into it a little bit deeper. All right, the first one is a reasonably new comic. It's Justice League Unlimited, number 18. Why did I pick this comic? Because it's the next one I'm going to read. And we're going to take a look at it and evaluate it. The first thing you want to do when you're evaluating a comic, of course, is open it up and look on the inside. See if the pages are white. Well, okay, these are the only ones that you can see, and obviously they're white. The pages that have the white channels, those you can tell. It's a new comic. Of course the pages are white. Next, we want to check the corners. You want to look at all 4 corners. And you're seeing if they're sharp. You see this one has a little bit of a nick there, probably because the knife that they used to cut wasn't quite sharp enough. But overall, the corners are nice and sharp. Now we look at the spine. Do you look at just the front spine? No, you look at both sides, front and back. And I don't see any spine stress on it. The comic presents very nicely. Matter of fact, it's a great looking book. but there is a little blemish here and another one there, and I don't know what that is, but I can feel it. Take a take a cotton round and see if it comes off. No, it's still there in both spots. Uh, I might count that against it. That is part of my evaluation, is checking. And notice I'm looking at it at different angles because I'm looking for dents and dings and things like that. And I don't see hardly any. I just saw those two little blemishes. One is right there and one is right there. And that's the only thing I found wrong with this comic. What? No, there's another blemish here. Okay, I brushed that right off with my finger, so I guess that wasn't a blemish. Overall, this is a high-grade comic. It's a really nice copy, which is to be expected because it's brand new, or almost new. It's like a month old. I'm a little behind on my reading, but yeah, nice copy. This is the standard by which all comic books should be judged. You start assuming that it's mint or near mint, and then you go from there. Let's take a look at another comic. This is a Charlton comic. This comic is from 1965, which for a Charlton comics is in really nice shape. Looking at it now, when you first want to check for presentation, hold the comic at arm's length. Okay, I have this at arm's length to me, and I look at it, and it seems to present fairly nicely. So let's take a look at the inside. There's some discoloration on the cover. Pages are off-white. They're supple. And like I said, I'm not grading it, I'm evaluating it. It appears that all the pages are intact. I should have stopped at the centerfold. I didn't. Now, a lot of Charltons, you'll see this, which is kind of a rippled cut. That's just where the pages were towards the bottom of the sheet. And Charlton, they wanted to get everything they could out of every inch of paper. So let's go back to the centerfold. I should have stopped there. Now, the staples are off, they're slightly discolored. They're a darker gray. That's not a bad thing necessarily. Has stained the book slightly right here, and over here you can see a slight stain. Not rust. And again, if you look at the staples here, there's some brightness, but basically they're dulled. Now, want to look at the corners. This corner is a little bit, it's got some creases on the corner, and it's not as sharp as it could be. Same thing with this one. It's got some corner wear. Corner wear and creases. Corner wear again, maybe even a little blunting on that one. Next, we look at the spine. Now you can see this long crease right here. It's very obvious, but I don't consider that part of the spine. Spine is right here. What we're looking for is fraying, which you can see right here and right here, right here, and spine stress, which it has quite a bit. Most of that's going to come out when I press it. Again, look at the back, same thing. You can see some spine stress on it. There's a crease here. It doesn't look like it's broken color, but it might have. Okay, now we look at it and try to get, it actually has a pretty good sheen to it, but what we're looking for is dents and creases. There's a crease here. Well, no, that isn't a crease. There's creases along the edge. So it has edge wear. And I don't know if you can see them or not, but I can certainly see them. There's a lot of bends and dings and dents in this comic. The comic was bent like this at one point. There's a crease back here that breaks color, but the crease here does not. It's just a bend there. There's a crease here that breaks color. Staple crease that breaks color. On the back, again, I don't know if you can see it, but I can see a lot of dents and dings and a little bit of dirt. Overall, a light clean, a press, and this will be a really nice looking book. It's a mid-grade book. I'm right in its condition currently. I would say a lower mid-grade book. After a clean and a press, it might raise it to a mid-level mid or a high-level mid-grade book. So you might actually get it to about a 7 or a 7.5. Chances are, though, it's going to be in the 5.5 to 6 range. Possibility of lower than that. But it's actually a really nice looking comic considering it's Charlton, and Charlton are notoriously bad. So that's how I evaluate a comic book. Now, when I do the evaluation and I decide, okay, I know about what I think it is based on my impressions on the evaluation, that's how I assign a price on the comic. Now, I'm not going to sell this. This is going in my personal collection, at least for now. But when I price a comic, I start with a near mint price, which is going to piss people off because, oh, it's not near mint. Yeah, I know that. And then I'll half it if I think it's in the very fine range. Half it again if it's a mid-grade copy, maybe half it again if it's a lower mid-grade copy, maybe half it again if it's a good copy. You see what I'm saying? I don't really worry about, is it a 5.5? Is it a 6? Is it a 6.5? I don't worry about that. I worry about my impression of the book. And my impression of the book is it's a very nicely presenting book. Once it's cleaned, get a mild clean on it, a press, get these dents out, it's going to look really amazing, especially in a Mylar. Let's go to book number 3. This is Classics Illustrated, number 22. We'll see what HRN number it is. 22-85. So this is actually from the 50s, I would think. Okay. You can't go by the date of publication. The original publication date for this was June of 1945. This copy was printed much later than that. This was published in the 50s. So let's take a look at it. First thing we do is we hold it at arm's length. Does it present well? Well, no, it doesn't. It doesn't really present that well. It's got, tears and dirt and nastiness and this crease right down the middle and another crease there. Yeah, so, but still, that's the first thing we do is presentation. Doesn't present all that well. So we open it up and we start going through it. Well, right away you can see it's detached at the lower staple. But the pages actually are nice and supple. And I would say they're white pages actually. Notice this tear that goes all the way through the book. That's a staple tear that goes all the way through the book. And when I conserve this book, which I am going to do, oh, look at the centerfold. Centerfold is completely out, and it's ragged on the edges. But still, that's the worst looking page. The rest of the pages are white. However, if I were describing it, I would say off-white because of this one page. And it's also got some tears in it. So this page is going to get some attention. Now, what's next? Next, we go to the spine. Let's take a look at the spine. The spine is devastated. It's really bad. It's got really bad tears there. This one tear goes all the way through the comic. This one goes all the way through the comic. Uh, and it appears to have a spine roll. So let's turn it over. Look at this side, and you can see where those go all the way through. And yes, it definitely has a spine roll. And you know me and spine rolls. I don't like them. So, spine is in bad shape. It has some gloss to the cover, some sheen to the cover, but it has a lot of creases all over the cover. Not to mention this long one going down. So that's going to take a lot of work to get all of those out. And it looks like the comic was just crumbled. Backside, same thing. A lot of creases. Looks really bad. How would I grade this book? I wouldn't. How would I evaluate it? It needs work. It needs some love. It needs some care. It's a very low grade copy. Uh, I would put this as fair, maybe less than fair. I mean, it is complete, but yeah. I might even go as far as saying it's poor. Yeah, in its current condition, I would say it's a poor condition. So how would that affect my pricing it? If it was a first print and in this condition, and it was a $25 or $30 book, because Classics Illustrated really don't go for that much. Well, first prints do. But let's say it's a $20 or $30 book in very fine or better condition. I would probably offer this up for about $3. Maybe $2, maybe even less. But once I do a little work to it, it might be worth a little more. My point is, don't worry about the grade, worry about how the comic looks. How does it present? This one presents poorly. You might not want to add it to your collection unless it was the only one you needed and you couldn't find another copy. This book, although it's not a high grade copy, it's a very nicely presenting copy. So it might be one you want to add to your collection. This book, this is the kind of book people send to CGC, and I don't understand why. It's worth about $5 because that's the original cost. But by the time they're finished with it, it's going to be a whole lot more than that. Definitely could add that to your collection. And I could have picked an older book from the 90s that's in mint or near very close to mint condition and shown you that. But I just wanted to show you a new one as a comparison. And we just put them all just like that. Worry more about presentation and how the comic presents than the actual condition. Don't worry about the grade. You can have two comics graded the same, but one presents so much nicer that it sells for more. That's the way it works. Nicely presenting comics sell for more than the same grade of comic that doesn't look as nice. Just if you're buying a comic from a guy and the price is fair for the way it looks, don't ask him the condition unless he has it on there. If he has the comic, if he has the condition on the comic, take a closer look at that comic to make sure that condition is appropriate to your evaluation of it. Let's go back to me. Now, I buy a lot of comic books. I mean, I buy them all the time. As a matter of fact, I got a stack I have to make videos of. And I'll make some for this week coming up. And I've got more coming. I tried to buy some comics that were mid-grade. They're from the 90s. They're worth maybe 75 cents to $1 a piece. I offered them $25 for 12 comics. They wouldn't take it because this comic in near mint goes for this price. In a 9.8, this comic goes for like $35, $40. And I'm looking at him going, it's not a 9.8. It's a mid-grade copy at best. And the prices I'm offering are more than fair. Bottom line is they didn't sell them to me because they felt I was trying to rip them off. And I wasn't. I offered a more than fair price. They're new to comics, they'll learn. And if they don't learn, maybe they'll get out of them. I actually told them to think about what they would like for all of the comics they had right there. And let me know. And I would, if it was a reasonable price, I was ready to write them a check right then, or PayPal them the money, or Cash App, or whatever they needed. But no, they didn't do it. They wouldn't go with that because they thought they had a gold mine. But in reality, what they had was a lot of crap. And to make matters worse, they had them in binders. Don't put your comics in binders, people, ever. They'll learn, and I showed them a few things they needed to know, about determining condition, not grade, but condition. I told them about spine stress. I talked to them about things like that. They had a bunch of treasury editions, but when I first saw them, I went, "Whoa, nice!" Need to snatch those. And then I looked at them and go, "No, I don't do conservation work on those." The covers were coming off. They were in really ratty condition. It just wasn't worth it. I wouldn't even want them. Even if they said, "Here, take these, they're free," I wouldn't take them. They were that bad. So anyway, don't want to harp on that. I wish those people all the luck in the world. I hope they do well. I hope they learn a lot and start getting into comics. They had some graded comics, but they didn't bring them. And of course, those were the ones I wanted to see. Those were the ones I wanted to buy. Oh well, it happens. Take care, everybody. We'll see you on Wednesday night. I'll be there, and I'll be dropping another video of some sort on Wednesday. I might try to get some work done on that on the Weird Science project. If I do get enough of it done, maybe I'll post it on Friday. Otherwise, look forward to some more Superman 40 or 57 on Friday. So take care, everybody. We'll see you later. Bye.